Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new point of view, in this case day point of view review of the new Volvo C40 Recharge. We're going to take this car for a spin and let's go around. We're sitting on 20-inch alloys, rear tires are a little bit wider. I love this coupe design of the C40 and this unique LED taillights signature. You open by pressing on the bottom. If I back up here, you can see the cargo space. It's nice and practical, flat entry. You also have a little extra space on the bottom where you can put your charging cables. Let's close it up and take it for a spin. Now we're in a press event, so this is a premiere in Croatia, a little bit late as you can imagine, but better late than never, as they say. So we have the new infotainment. I'm just gonna switch it to maps and put it to drive, so you can put your key in your pocket. There is no start stop button. Just when you sit on the seat, there's a pressure sensor, and then if the key's inside the car, it allows you just to put it into drive when you press the brake and head out. Now you can change the digital cockpit to classical speedo, or you could switch it to maps. So if you want to have that, and you can have something different on the main screen, but I'm gonna keep it like this. Now I did a full review, so if you want to check that out, different color, the interior a little bit better in my a personal taste, if you ask me, rather than this black model. But there's also a different, I didn't manage to cover the infotainment, but I've covered everything else. Now let's talk about the car. So there is a smaller battery and a bigger battery, and there is dual motor and a single motor setup, if I'm not mistaken. So this is dual motor with a bigger battery, and we are in recuperation mode. So you can also drive this car like a classical, where it doesn't recuperate, but if you want to use the recuperation mode, there's a single recuperation setting, and it acts when you let go of the acceleration pedal. You can see there's one behind me, so I'm going to just completely stop. It acts as a one pedal driving, so the car stops, it doesn't go forward, sort of just like a Tesla, which I really love since I am a Tesla owner, and it just speeds up nicely. So it's very comfortable, I gotta say, and I love this SUV style. You're taller, you have a better overview around yourself. Now I forgot the exact specs, 0 to 100, but we'll see if there will be an opportunity to test that. The car feels stable. There's like a little bit, maybe body leaning, just a little bit. It's a taller crossover to be exact, but it is very stable on the road. You have wider tires on the rear. And now we're gonna do a little launch here, so there's no traffic behind us. Punch it. Whoa, that's good. And wow, that was 100. Brakes are really good. So this is just for demonstration, I think. I would say from top of my head, what would you say, what's the 0 to 100? I would say maybe around, I don't know, 6 seconds perhaps. Can't say for sure, but it's definitely quite the punch. I like it, and that's one of the advantages of the electric cars. Now with the bigger battery, I've asked, so up to 130 km/h speed limit, which is in most of the Europe, you would get around 350 kilometers of range, which isn't that bad. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the power consumption was around 25 kilowatts, but this is a boxy SUV type of electric car, so that's, I guess, in the average is usually between 22, 23, 25, so it depends on the car, sometimes 26. Everything past 25, I would say, is a higher power consumption, but if it could do realistically perhaps a 350, I think that's a decent range for an electric car. I know most people will like a higher or longer range, but that's the reality of electric cars today. Now, if you consider this car is coming from Sweden, they have like 120 speed limits or 110. You can do, of course, a little bit more in the warmer season. In colder season, a little bit less. Of course, you know, depending on your driving style, also depends your range. Now, in the C40 and the XC40, heat pump is standard in the higher packages. In the entry packages, it's a option that I would definitely advise you. But honestly, if you're not only city commuting or commuting to your work, if you're going longer distances, and if you are traveling occasionally on road trips, I would suggest getting a bigger battery and the all-wheel drive. Now this car has a maximum charging speed of 150 kilowatts. Now it's a decent charging speed, and I think comparing this to a Tesla supercharger that is now opening up in multiple countries, I believe it'll open up, so you will have not only Ionity supercharger network, you will also have in the future Tesla supercharging network, and their V2 chargers are up to 120, 140 kilowatts, so you can get most from that. There's also V3 with 250 kilowatts, and the Ionity has up to 350 kilowatts. So wherever you go, you're good with this car. Now this car has the half autonomy system, so you can drive up to 130, and if you by any chance fell asleep or get sick, you can continue driving. The car will try to warn you to take over, or it will, if you're not responding, it will just tell you to it will just safely pull over to the side and stop the car fully, and I guess start the emergency call. You can see a little bit night ambience. There are no ambient lights inside. You can see that the main screen goes darker, even the one in the front, and it looks great. Although I would personally like the front screen to be a little bit brighter. Maybe there is an option in the setting, but I honestly haven't checked. And the car feels solid. I wish we can get this car for a longer period, but with all this delays in production and so on, we're kind of limited with the time, even with the press cars. I don't get always press cars. I work with salons, but it just these days it's a little bit harder to get cars for reviews. So adding this, I gotta say that the suspension is quite comfortable, considering if you're going on uneven parts of the road, speed bumps, manholes and potholes. It's quite comfortable, and I really like the overall general feeling in the car. It's just such a relaxing drive with no noise of the internal combustion engine. This is just such a relaxing drive. The seats are quite comfortable, at least on this short journey, and overall I'm really pleased with what Volvo did with the C40. I haven't tested the Polestar, but this is, if this is so good, I can even imagine the Polestar even being a little bit better. We're gonna come to the highway, so we'll do a nice little test so you guys can see how that looks as well. So I usually have a different filming route because of the, because of the press. I'm using a different route. This is full of traffic, that's why I usually don't use it. So it's a little bit different from the standard route I take. Coming to the highway, I'm gonna floor it here. And easily pulls, but again, traffic, so. But considering the size of this crossover or SUV, it's quite good. The pulling speed is very nice. Now, regarding the overview in the car, you are tall, you have a good overview on the front, on the sides, you have a nice big mirrors, but the view behind you is a little bit narrow, and you can't really do a lot about it. But you do have those cameras for 360 parking, so parking isn't a big issue. Today there shouldn't be a lot of wind. This tarmac is a little bit rougher. Road noise is moderate. I think the soundproof could be a little bit better. There's some whistling sound coming from the side mirrors that are pretty big. And this is a boxy shaped car, so having that in mind, I think this is like in the average. Now you do have the panel roof. Those usually tend to, create a little bit more wind noise coming inside the cabin. But the glass roof is standard. I like to create some distance between us and those cars just to speed up a little bit again, but I think there's so much traffic that won't be the case. So I think I'm going to wrap it here regarding the highway. But I did give you a little glimpse of highway speed. I would like to pull to 150, but we're just, the traffic doesn't allow that, so always safety first, of course. Now, I know from the XC40 that the infotainment has changed, and they've kind of added a few steps. So for the climate, you used to have climate controls here. Now you have to tap in here, and then you can control the climate. I just realized that I was so much in a rush that I haven't adjusted my mirrors. So, although you do have the blind spot, so it's not a big deal. I did adjust the rear mirror. Anyways, this doesn't go back to the maps, so I would prefer that, to be honest. There's this home menu, or there's this this looks very nice. This looks nice when you're in the maps. You have Google Maps, but I would like them to work on the infotainment a little bit more. I think they could do a little better. Volvo says it's intuitive, but for me personally, I don't know. I'm a Apple user, or Tesla user as well, so I don't like Android infotainment that much. I don't dislike them as much as well, but I think this, I don't know, I'd like more icons, maybe a little bit bigger. I mean, for a young generation, it's not a problem to adjust. For maybe some older generations, it might be like slightly confusing at first, so I would advise you to just check it on the parking, browse through the infotainments, take a few minutes of your time to learn where everything is. This is a short trip, so we're coming to an end. I'm gonna end it in garage. Recuperation is pretty strong, I would say, so for those of you who are interested. And this is a little bit a ambience in dark. You can see the 360 parking system is amazing. And windows down, so if you're going forward, the rear window doesn't go all the way down. You can see no electric sound. I love that. I really love that. I like the fact that there's no buzzing sounds or some sort of fake engine sounds. This is how electric cars should be. And the steering wheel is pretty much very light. It doesn't give you a lot of feedback, but I believe there should be a option. Most cars have at least like 2 sort of driving mode setups. Now, cutting this in, I think that the turning radius isn't that bad. So let's check over here. Yeah, it's solid. But we're coming to the end of our video. To wrap it up, I think this is a very solid crossover. If you want more space, you can just go for the classical SUV style of the XC40 Recharge, but the C40, it just looks more appealing, to be honest. Wow, today the garage is completely full, so we'll find a nice parking spot here. And reverse has on, it's something Croatia we have. So you can see here, very good camera sharpness, and turning angle could be a little bit better because of the dual motor. It's a little bit limiting, but with this 360, it's that easy to park the car. And just to show you, I'm not sure if you can hear this, but there's like a ding sound. You can't hear it probably, but it's the only sound when you're reversing. I really like that. Honestly, I would rather have that in my Tesla than that UFO sound. Now when you're exiting, you could either press the park button, or you can just lift your bottoms up. When you're exiting, then the car registers you're exiting, and it locks itself. Just another look here at the garage. Really lovely looking. Again, love that LED taillights design, and love the signature on the front as well. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna see you in the next one. If you want to see more, subscribe, definitely click the little bell to get notified, and as always, stay safe on the road and at home. Bye.